talk to you about something that is so special, and that is self-love. I did a video about this on my Instagram around this time last year. You are absolutely loved and adored exactly as you are. You don't have to perform or do anything to earn love. You're totally worthy as you are. And something that really brings me a lot of joy and peace and just giddiness when I think about it is the idea that there is something greater than me that chose to give me a heartbeat, and there's something that is beating my heart and breathing my lungs without me having to focus on it, without me having to try for it. And to me, that is the quickest way to remember that I am loved. And if you are spiritual, that might be something to consider. And if you're not, no worries at all. It's just something that really brings me a lot of joy. And when I was going to make this video today, I actually rewatched the video I'd made about a year ago. I agree with everything that I had said at that point, and I still believe in all of those things, and I'll link the video below. It's over on my Instagram, so it'll take you to my Instagram page. And I've also really expanded that definition of love and what does it mean to love myself, and I love thinking about it. I think that we all get to show up for ourselves the way that we want our people to show up for us. We get to give that to ourselves, and that's such a beautiful, magical gift. And when you're really standing strongly in that space, you are going to become such a better partner and best friend and daughter, or whatever other interpersonal relationships you are in. They will flourish when you're doing the work of honoring and loving yourself. Self-love means becoming your own mother, your own partner, and your own best friend. And ideally, in those relationships, what do you want to have between your mom and you, or your partner and you, or your best friend and you? You want to have trust. I wanted to go through each role and give you some tips on how you can become a better mother to yourself. How can you become a better partner to yourself? How can you become a better best friend to yourself? Because it's so easy to say, but the practice can sometimes be challenging, especially if you have any trauma, or if you don't necessarily feel like you're in a very good relationship with yourself right now. It can feel really overwhelming. However, there are some really tangible tips and practices that you can do that I believe in my heart of hearts will help you to trust yourself again and to become that rock for yourself and that pillar and just this radiant beam of light. And that's what we want. So let's just get into it. Okay, so how can you become a better mother to yourself? I trust that I can handle really big emotions and I can be with them, and then I allow them to be heard. I had heard somewhere that when you stop resisting an emotion, the true intensity of it only lasts about 90 seconds. So there's so much suffering that goes around that because we're resisting the emotion, we're running away from it, we're, distracting ourselves so we don't have to feel that big feeling, because I think there's this fear that if I allow the big feeling, it will take over. And becoming a good mom to yourself is really about allowing those big feelings. You are safe and you are loved and you are allowed to feel exactly how you feel. And so you give that to yourself and you allow yourself to process that emotion, to let it run through you, and you release that desire to resist that emotion, and you instead allow the emotion, give it space, allow its voice to be heard, and you trust that those emotions are actually signals or little indicator lights on your dashboard showing you that there's something that deserves your attention. And for me, that thing that deserves my attention would fall into one of three buckets. So mind, body, and soul, or spirit. For instance, if I'm really, really anxious and I'm having a really hard day, I'm going to say, okay, what are you wanting me to see right now? And maybe that is that my thoughts are just running rampant. I'm on a what if train. What if this happens? What if I lose that? What if that happens? What if this breaks? Blah, 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 blah. Of course, you're not going to feel good if that's playing on loop in your brain. You simply notice it, honestly, and really, once you are aware of that, it instantly takes that edge off. It instantly takes the suffering away, because you see it. You say, this is a story. This is a reaction that I've had for a long time. This is a trauma response even, and I see that that's what it is, and I don't need to now let it define who I am. I can hear those stories and acknowledge that they're there, and I am not going to believe them. Likewise, if I'm noticing that I have been anxious for like a week or something like that, again, not being bad or wrong for feeling that feeling, even though it's uncomfortable, I might say, okay, well, what have I been doing? Have I been moving my body at all? Or am I, drinking enough water? For me, during the pandemic, I found that the best things for my mental health are sunshine and water. Oh, it's just the best thing for me. I'm like a plant. And then when I have those two things in abundance, I feel really, really good. But for you, it could be something totally different. That big emotion is just an invitation to kind of look at your dashboard. Okay, no, I know I'm feeding my mind good thoughts. I know I'm working out, but that soul or that spirit category, for me, that is God in me and my relationship with God. Also a huge part of my creative practice. Am I making something right now? When you're getting into that like flow state and that creative state, and you're putting your energy into creating something beautiful to you, that is a really, really good use of that energy. If your mind is not on because you're in flow state, because you're creating, there's not going to be as much room for your mind to create or make up these stories that don't work for you. For me, also in that spiritual soul department would be, meditation and journaling, things like that. Body would be movement, water, sunshine, laughter, and just nourishing my body with good food. And then of course your mind, really watching your stories, watching your thoughts, noticing the types of content that you're consuming. How uplifting is it? How do you feel after you consume it? Do you feel tired? Do you feel jazzed and ready to go do something? Consciously looking for content that's going to elevate your mood. Those are the 3 boxes. So trust that you can sit with big emotions, trust that they are there as your teachers, and then without judging them, simply allow them to point to one of those 3 boxes. That is one way that I believe you can become a better mother to yourself. I mentioned this previously. Keeping your promises to yourself, keeping your word to yourself. When you make promises, make them workable for you, make them something that you can actually do and that don't become a burden. Especially when you're new to this practice, start small. Make it something that you know that you can win, because to me, a promise is just so sacred, and you really want to just start off with these little baby steps and build up from there. And trust that it is safe to be your own authority figure, right? Moms are confident in being the authority figures for their kids. You are your own authority figure. So that means, again, really, really becoming in tune with your body and what its signals are telling you, and really learning to trust yourself. And when you are making choices, what does it feel like to say yes in your body? And what does it feel like to say no in your body? Something that I'm noticing for myself as I lean into this is when I am making a choice, I kind of imagine that I chose one thing and see how I feel. And then I imagine I chose the other thing and see how I feel. Whichever one gives me that feeling of relief, that is the right choice for me. When I'm not in alignment and when I'm pushing really hard, I feel like I need to control, I need to squeeze, I need to hold tight. When I'm in that energy, I know that I should just stop. I need to slow down, or I deserve to slow down, to take a couple deep breaths. So I'm just paying attention to my body's signals and I'm honoring them. And for me, my intuitive yes is a feeling of release and relief. And that might be different for you. It's just learning what that is for you. And that in and of itself is a magical process when you start to know how your intuition communicates with you. Okay, so becoming your own best friend. For me, this means watching my words about myself, even in casual conversation. Would you want your best friend to talk about you that way? Or would you ever consider talking about your best friend that way? Chances are, probably not. Okay, so becoming a better partner. How do you do that? See everyone as a mirror. This is a beautiful practice, and it's challenging, and it's so easy for me to forget to do this, but it is so just when you do it, because we really are all mirrors of one another, and the qualities that we really, really admire in other people are reflected back to us, because those are the qualities within ourselves that we love and that light us up, and we want to really bring those out. On the opposite side of that, when we are triggered by someone or we're feeling annoyed or pissed off at somebody else, we're seeing a quality in them that we don't accept in ourselves. Maybe it's not integrated, maybe it's something we know we do that we don't like, or maybe it's something that we have just totally repressed in self. But either way, everyone is a mirror to us. And so when I say to be a better partner to yourself, think about those qualities that you really, really admire in your partner, or if you're single, that you would want in your partner. Perhaps, your partner is a really good listener and you really, really love that about them. That's really, really valuable information. I really love this quality about this person. They're a beautiful listener. That's reflecting back to me that I really, really value listening. And I can cultivate that in myself. So I can become a better listener of my own self, first of all, because that's where it starts. So I can listen to my feelings and my thoughts and my desires and boundaries and all of those things. And I can now turn that outward and become and show up as a better listener to the people in my own life. You know what I'm saying? And be a better listener to my partner and my friends. And likewise, if you are single and you really want to be with somebody who's fun and goes with the flow, and that you can cultivate that within yourself and become the partner that you want to attract to you. And that's how you attract a partner that you are really compatible with, in my opinion, by just embodying and being those things that you desire to connect with in someone else, if that makes sense. And then the last tip that I have for you is to date yourself. Now, I know that this is a little bit tricky during the pandemic, but it can still be done, because you can find small ways to date yourself or to show yourself that you care about yourself. So maybe that's going on a walk in a place that you've never been before. Maybe that's buying yourself a record and just spending an evening listening to really pretty, elegant music with a glass of wine or something like that. But really show yourself that you value your time with you by dating yourself. For me, when I go out in nature, especially if it's somewhere I've never been before, I connect with my wonder and soul, honestly, in just really profound ways. And so that would be a really great date idea for me to do with me. And everyone deserves to have that. So those are my, thoughts on developing and cultivating self-love. This work is never, ever done. And it's like this, it's not a straight path to all of a sudden becoming just so self-loving and the perfect image of self-love. No. However, when you start to commit to these practices and when you start to do these things over time, you do show yourself that you love yourself. So I hope that this video was helpful for you and inspiring, and I'd love to know where you're at on your self-love journey. Comment below, hit subscribe and like, and ring the bell for notifications. And I'm doing tons of gestures right now, but I hope that this video serves you, and I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. Just enjoy your self-love journey.